Have you ever wanted to start a YouTube podcast but didn't know exactly how? Okay, I'm going to tell you how I started this YouTube podcast. My name is Yogi. Everyone calls me Yogi, but my real name is Yozvani. I have a podcast called Big Yogi'z Garage, and I started it in my living room. And I wanted it to be like a garage theme stuff. It's still evolving, so I took the name and I ran with it. On this episode, I'm gonna explain to you guys how I started my podcast. A lot of people have been asking me, how do you start a podcast? There's even people that have been on and they said they want to start their podcast. I can't explain to you how to start every podcast in the world because every podcast is different. But my podcast, my YouTube podcast, I want to explain to you how I started, how my journey is going so far. I wanted to start a podcast because I got out of prison. When I got out of prison, I went to prison. There's a podcast that explains, there's an episode way in the beginning that explains to you. When I went to prison and when I got out, I started my own cleaning business with my mom. My mom cleaned houses, and I was listening to a lot of podcasts. And I was like, damn, that's cool. That would be sweet to have conversations with different kind of people. And not only that, but have like a fan base or viewership and like be able to expand your network and create something for yourself. And I always listen to a lot of different podcasts, anywhere from comedians to health to this to that, all kinds of different throughout the first like 2 years of cleaning in the business. So I kept wanting a podcast. And then one day I was like, I'm going to start buying things to get a podcast. I didn't have all the money. So I bought this. I bought the Rodecaster. I bought other things like little cameras. Like you see those cameras right there? I bought those cameras and I kept saying I'm going to make a podcast. And there was a local podcast here that I listened to called Mud Talks, right? Mud Talks is a local podcast with Valdi. I had him on, and he has it with Francisco. I had him on my podcast. I had both of them. There's an episode with both of them on, and they were interviewing Guy 419. And I was listening to their podcast, and Guy 419 was explaining like how he started his thing. He's like, just do it. And he like reviews food and stuff like that. Just do it. And, Valdi actually said, I started this podcast just on my phone. And when he said on my phone, I was like, damn, because I kept buying cameras, but the cameras, I couldn't afford like a $4,000 camera. So I kept trying to find the right camera to start the podcast. But I never really knew that you just could do it on a phone. He was like, I just started this podcast on a phone. That's what we're using right now, a phone. And he pointed to the camera, and I was like, dang, I can just start my podcast with my phone. And that day, that's when I started episode number 1. I already had a YouTube. And I put like 3 videos on it. I just had put like a video when I was walking to like somewhere, and it got a few views. And then I put another short where I bought a candy bar, and that one got like a bunch of views. A Mr. Beast bar, and that one got a bunch of views. And then I was like, I'm just gonna like make my first episode, and like I'm just gonna put it on YouTube. I was seeing like all these famous people getting YouTube podcasts. I was listening to people on Spotify and stuff saying, hey, go subscribe to my YouTube. I seen a lot of the regular podcasters going from just regular, like on the mic podcast to actually having shows like this with the studio, Andrew Schultz, Joe Rogan, all them like video podcasts was like, a lot of it was going to video. So I was like, I'm just going to start it. So I got a tripod that I had bought, and I sat it in front of a couch, and I put my phone there. I didn't have any microphones or anything at the time. I put my phone there, and I just like started episode 1. And I said, this is I just had listened to the Mud Talks, and I said, this is episode number 1. And that's when I started. And then I downloaded it to YouTube myself. I didn't know anything about it. I just took the video and I uploaded it to YouTube, and it took like 5 hours. I don't know. It just took like an hour, 2 hours. I don't know. It took forever. It was just loading all night. I think all night loading, and finally hit. I didn't have a thumbnail or nothing. I just got a few views. Then I was like, man, it doesn't sound good. It was like I could hear I didn't have a microphone or nothing. I could actually hear my refrigerator. So I was like, you know what, I can't do it there. So I went to Best Buy and I went and bought these microphones. They're the Rode Wireless Pro 2s, Rode Wireless Pro 2s. That's these little microphones. They come with with 2 microphones and a little receiver. You hook it up to the phone, and that's how come you guys can hear me so good, because I got that microphone. I don't actually have that set up yet because this is still a journey that's going on. I still don't have internet here. I still don't have a computer. I'm working on all that. But this is what I'm just explaining so far, like where I'm at. So I got that first episode done. I put the tripod on my couch, or right in front of my couch, and I did it. And then my second episode, I got the microphones, and I did the episode of like my prison story in my car, or in my wife's car, I think. It was raining. I kept opening the door and closing it. It was crazy. It was super hot because I didn't want to have the car on. So then I was like, man, where am I going to do this? Because I named it Big Yogi'z Garage, right? I came up with the name Big Yogi'z Garage because like I wanted to have like my own, I wanted to be like a garage setting. I plan on doing it in my garage eventually. Like I think my third episode was in my garage, and I set it up in like a little chair that my father-in-law gave me, and I had set it up there, and I set up the sign, Big Yogi'z Garage. I got all that made on, my logos. No, this is made by Brandon, but my first logo that I had, I got that made on Fiverr app. I got all my first logos made. So I took my regular YouTube channel that I already had uploaded some stuff. And then I had on Fiverr, I had them make me a logo and like a banner bar. So when they send it to me, I put that up there, the banner bar, and I made the logo. And that's when I started like the podcast. I put episode number 1. It was like my 3rd or 4th video on YouTube. And then I just kept going. Episode number 2. And then after my 3rd episode, then I was like, you know what? I'm going to start like interviewing people. So I rented an Airbnb, and I interviewed a couple people, interviewed my nephew and a couple other people. And then I rented hotels. I rented a hotel. I interviewed 5 people. And then Jacob Conine, I rented his office. Eventually I found out this office was open, so I came over here, and this is my studio now. I call it my studio. It used to be an office or something. So it evolved little by little. Once you started, you just started. The thing is, I procrastinated so many months. I could have already been way like further on, but for so many months I kept thinking I had to have the perfect camera. I was thinking I had to be perfect. What are people gonna think? This and that. I don't have nowhere to do it. But the thing is, you just start it wherever you at, you start it. And somehow, some way, once you get it going, the universe, other people will help you. Somehow it'll get going, and step by step, you'll start going, and you gotta just think of it like it's already done. Like, cause me, like I thought Big Yogi'z Garage, I'm gonna have it in my garage. I'm gonna have Steelers things. It's gonna be a garage. I didn't know that one day I was gonna be in a studio downtown and I was gonna have my own thing. I didn't know that, but you just gotta start it and start going and little by little. But everyone's waiting to get the perfect answer from me. Like, how do you start a podcast? How do you start it? You just grab your phone, you put it on a tripod that you buy at Walmart or an Amazon, and you just start talking to it, and you upload it to YouTube, or you upload it to wherever you want. That's how you start. But you start it by doing it, by actually going and doing it and getting it done. You can't start it thinking that you're gonna think of every single little thing first. and are waiting for someone to help you, if you're waiting for someone to help you, you will be waiting forever for someone to help you. You got to just come up with your own. Think of it like it's already done. Come up with your name, your logo, your mission. Like, what do you want to do with this podcast? What are you going to build? And it's going to be hard at first. At first, you got to upload it yourself. You got to create the content. You got to find the people. You got to edit it. You got to make the thumbnail. At first, I was like trying to edit the videos, making the thumbnails, the storage on the phones. Sometimes you're going to record things. They're not even going to be on the screen when you get on the other side of the phone. You're going to look. There's going to be no sound. There's going to be all kinds of letdowns. People are going to be like not showing up, canceling on you. Like, there's going to be so many challenges, but every single time you're going to learn for the next episode. And then somehow, some way, the universe sends you people to help you. One day I was just struggling, trying to even figure this out. And Brandon Stevens messaged me and said, "Hey, Yogi," he's like my nephew, but I haven't seen him in a long time. And he said, "Hey, Yogi," he said, "Hey, Unc, I can help you with the podcast." So he helps me with the podcast now. So he's the one that he took over like my channel. I record the video, I send it to him, and then he edits it. He puts the graphics on it. He puts everything on it, and he puts the names, and he cuts out whatever I need him to cut out. He puts in a song. He does everything. He makes me a flyer so I can promote it. He makes my thumbnail, all that for a flat fee. One flat fee. It started at a low range because I wasn't making any kind of money, and eventually I got sponsors, and the sponsors helped me pay for everything and helped me pay Brandon. The sponsorship is something that I brought later. I eventually got built up enough like community help, like through like, okay, you have to like eventually, like if you put it on YouTube, no one's gonna know. So you gotta like make a Facebook, make a TikTok, an Instagram, tell people, get it big enough, build like a community. Every guest, like I've had so many guests. I've had family members, I've had friends, I have like fitness people, I have musicians, all kinds of different musicians, business owners, truckers, like all kinds of different people I've had on, and I'm building a community of people that are like, helping me grow, sending me people. Little by little, you start building a community of people, and they help you grow, and eventually you get sponsors, and you can charge them and any price you want. Like, you got to try to like figure out a way to pay for everything with help. And as long as you become a person of the community and try to show people you're like the things that you want, you want people to like, because by you starting a podcast, you're going to start changing yourself, and you're going to start changing people. You're going to start learning so much. You're going to start like becoming a different person, different personality, a person of the community, because a lot of people are going to be asking you for favors, and a lot of people are going to be asking you to come on the podcast and this and that. So it's very overwhelming, but you got to just calm down, take it in, learn. Every episode is going to be super like, you never know what you're going to get with the person and everything. Like, even this episode right here, I thought I was going to have a guest, but the guest didn't show up. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to talk about how I started the podcast. I've been getting this question a lot lately. I built my community, like trying to like just with every single guest, I got a few more followers and a few more followers. And then little by little, on Facebook, just asking people to subscribe, my flyers, pictures. I think pictures are really important on Facebook. Not only flyers, but pictures get a long way. Like just making like a picture, just posting it, like a picture like this, and just posting it, a picture with the guest, and just like going like that and putting your logo in it. And just say, thank you very much for, whatever. There's keywords that you shouldn't put on posts, like YouTube and stuff like that, YouTube links and stuff like that. On Facebook, don't go much of nowhere. Facebook is helping people grow their followers. So I got like 3,600 followers on Facebook. I got like 2,000 on Instagram. TikTok, I got like 7,000. On YouTube, I got like 502 or 3 subscribers. Little by little, you just create this like community of people. And you, on Facebook, you do one thing. On TikTok, you do one thing. On Instagram, you do one thing. You don't want to just grow the podcast, grow yourself. You grow yourself, and like that, you can, once you grow yourself, you can grow all your businesses. It's not just growing just the podcast, because I also have a cleaning business. So I want to grow myself, and then I can just point at things. I can just say, hey, off the chain bullies, low life clothing, Needle Masters, Avon, Maria Escobar from Avon. Those are my sponsors. Then I can I can point, and I build this thing. I'm building this little by little. So eventually I can build other things. But this is like my platform. You create your platform and make it unique for you. And then like my TikTok, I do a workout, but I use the same emojis, and I talk about my podcast on there, and I talk about my podcast on Facebook, and I talk about my podcast on Facebook stories, Instagram stories, TikTok stories. That's where it's at, because the people follow you and then they see your stories. I get hundreds of views on my stories. And then I don't just talk about my podcast. I talk about my real life. I have a workout journey going on. Create something bigger for yourself. Make yourself somebody like amazing. Every single one of us is amazing. We just got to get it out of us and bring it out to the world. Your platform can be positive, can be great, can be a family. It can be whatever you want it to be. You guys can smoke in Ohio. It's legal to smoke cannabis now, so you guys can smoke on. You guys can do this. You guys can do that. You guys can do whatever you want. You can have fun, talk to your people. You can be a band. You can have a cooking show. You can have this. You can have that. There's so many things you can do. Put your content out so people can see it. Right now, the phone is the attention. You just got to get it out there so people can see it, and so you can have fun. Make it like enjoyable. And then the other thing is consistency. Consistency is the key to this. If you say you're going to put an episode every 2 weeks, every week, 2 a week, whatever you say, be consistent. Every week, okay, every single week, put out an episode. I do that every single week, no matter what happens. People cancel on me. The last couple months, I have had about 7 different people cancel on me. So it's been really hard, and it's scheduling. It's going to be really hard to schedule people with your real job, like your real life. Like, this doesn't bring me no money. Like my sponsors basically pay for it. I don't make any money like on top of it. I have to put more money into it besides my sponsors. So you got to have a real job. So this has to be like a side like hustle. You can't depend on YouTube to pay you or anyone to pay you in the beginning. In the beginning, you got to like keep working your job and try to find a way that you can schedule 1 guest a week or just 1 podcast a week. And you got to do it. If you say every Saturday a podcast is going to come out, you got to have one every Saturday, because consistency shows people that you're serious. It shows people that you're really about it. And eventually no one will cancel on me one day. Like today, this podcast right here, like I said earlier, I have to do it. I figured I had a guest coming, but he didn't show up. So I just said, you know what? A lot of people have been asking me about how I started my podcast, or how do you start a podcast? I can't answer how do you start a podcast, but I can answer how I started my podcast. And this is how I started it. And just being consistent, working hard, showing people that you're really about it. I get up every single morning at 5 in the morning. I'm in the gym. I work out. I clean houses all day. And then once a week, I record a podcast. I want to go TikTok live once a week, and I want to go Facebook live once a week, but I haven't been consistent on that. I haven't figured out exactly how to do that 100% because I don't have much time with I have a cleaning business, and I'm really like growing that and trying to make that a really large business. So it takes up most of my time. So the key thing to this is just be consistent, do what you say, keep putting out the episodes. You're going to keep growing with every single guest. Be yourself, have fun. Don't listen to nobody. People are going to put their opinions every single time you talk to somebody. They're going to tell you exactly how to do a podcast and which way you should do it. But they don't have a podcast. They don't do social media. You don't even see nothing. So you got to focus on yourself. Try to get the ideas that, you know what I mean, you get sent, and put it out there and make your studio your own. You know, I still got a long way to go. I'm still trying to figure this out. This chair was given to me by the landlord. This I bought at a garage sale. Those things I bought, that thing I bought at Amazon, and then my logo. Eventually Brandon made me all new logos and everything, and Brandon hooked me up with my new logo, and then I made that logo on a canvas on Google Photos. So yeah, just like make it your own, figure out what you're gonna do. I got this studio, this little vault right here, so I just like, you know, gonna take advantage of that, and you know, have fun and be yourself. And if people that like you, they're gonna follow you. The people that don't like you, they don't like your content, they're just gonna go away. Just be you. Be respectful, loving, caring, and you'll get a long way. Even though I don't have much yet, one day I think I'm gonna, you know, gonna have a bigger platform if I just keep working hard at it. And thank you guys very much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. If you got any kind of good value from this video or anything, can you please subscribe, you know, comment, share. If you have any advice for me, how I can get better and, you know, learn. And I'm still trying to learn everything. If you got any advice, or if you want to put any kind of input, can you comment anything? I would really appreciate it. I'm still learning. I still haven't made anything out of my podcast, but little by little, like it hasn't, I got 500 subscribers. I wish I can get, you know, thousands. I wish I can get monetized, but you know, little by little, if you just keep working on it, I think YouTube will help you out. And eventually, I know video podcasts right now are doing really good on YouTube. So just keep putting it out there. Start right now. Grab your phone, get a tripod, turn on that light, and just go for it. Don't be scared. It just keep going. Go for it and just go all out, and don't be scared, because, you know, you only live once. We only have one life to live, and, you know, it is what it is, you know. Have fun. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching Big Yogi'Z Garage. Appreciate it. Let's go. Let's go.